Hey young friends, Dr. Bill here. I am so glad that you could join me for today's lesson. As I mentioned last week, we're putting a hold on our series of lessons of big names from the Bible since it's the season of Advent and Christmas. And as I mentioned last week, what we're going to be doing is exploring some of the main features of the Christmas stories, the stories of Jesus' birth. We're looking at some of the distinctive characteristics of those stories. Last week, we focused on the fact that both Matthew and Luke tell us that there was a lot of travel involved. In the stories of Jesus' birth, people were moving from one place to another, one situation to another, one right after the other. Well, today we're going to take a look at another feature, and that's the fact that angels are all over the stories of Jesus' birth. Angels show up and figure prominently in both of the accounts that we have in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. Take Matthew, for example. According to Matthew, an angel of the Lord shows up to Joseph while he's asleep. And while Joseph is asleep, the angel of the Lord tells him that he should not be afraid to take Mary as his wife. And as a result of that dream, Joseph, when he awakens, decides that he will do exactly as the angel commanded him. Then, later on, after Jesus is born, an angel appears to Joseph again while he's asleep, while he's dreaming. And the angel warns Joseph that King Herod is intent on killing the baby Jesus. And with that warning in hand, Joseph, when he awakes, packs up the family and they flee to Egypt so they can be a long way away from Herod and beyond his reach. And then, after the death of Herod, while Joseph and Mary and the baby Jesus are living in Egypt, once again, an angel shows up to Joseph and tells him that the coast is clear. It's okay to go back to Israel. Herod has died, and there is no more threat or no more danger to the baby Jesus. Angels also figure prominently in the story of Jesus' birth as told by Luke. So, for example, an angel appears to the priest Zechariah and tells him that he and his wife Elizabeth are going to have a son. And that son is going to be the one who comes to prepare the way for Jesus. It's John the Baptist. The angel shows up and says to Zechariah, "You're going to have a son who's going to get things ready for the birth of Jesus." And then the angel Gabriel shows up to Mary. Mary is taken aback and surprised by the angel's appearance. I mean, who wouldn't be? And Gabriel says, God wants you to do something very important. He wants you to be the mother of the Christ child. Well, Mary hears all of that, knows that there's a lot that she doesn't understand, knows that there's a lot that she can't yet comprehend, but still she says yes. And then as well, when Jesus is born, an angel appears to the shepherds. They're out in their field, they're watching over their sheep, and the angel bursts in and makes this great announcement that the Messiah, the Christ, has been born. And as a result of the angel's announcement, the shepherds leave their flocks, they make their way into the town of Bethlehem, and there they find the Christ child. So, from both accounts in these two Gospels, we find that angels are everywhere. They're moving all over, and they're interacting with all different people, all of the major characters in the story of Jesus' birth. So what does this have to say to us? What are the takeaways or the lessons that we can find from angels being so present? The first is this: By sending angels to deliver messages to people, it's obvious that God wants to communicate with us. God doesn't want to leave people in the dark. God wants us to have an understanding of what's going on and what's going to take place. And so God sends messengers to people to say, hey, this is going to happen, or this is what God wants you to do. God wants to communicate with us, and so God sends messengers. The second lesson is this. The presence of angels in these stories remind us that God is all around us. Now, I know most of the time we think about God being way up there and we're way down here. But the fact that angels figure so prominently in the stories of Jesus' birth, well, their presence shows us that God is nearer than we imagine. That instead of being way up there, God is all around us. The world is full of God's presence. Everywhere we go, whatever we experience, those things can be messengers. Those can be experiences that we have that allow God to communicate with us. And as well, the final lesson is this. Because angels figure so prominently in the stories of Jesus' birth, well, I guess these stories tell us that we should be alert to the presence of angels. The book of Hebrews says that we should welcome everybody because we never know when we might be entertaining angels. Isn't that pretty cool? We never know when an angel may show up in the guise of a friend or another person. Not going to be somebody with giant wings or a halo or carrying around a harp or anything like that, but God's messengers could be the people we meet day in and day out. They could be people who are trying to communicate God's message to us. Well, that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.